This is a case in which a 17-year-old teenager killed 2 unarmed men and severely wounded a third person with an AR-15 that did not belong to him. The only person who shot and killed anyone was the defendant. Yes, there was property damage. No one's here to defend that. No one's here to tell you it's okay to commit arson or looting. No one's here to tell you it's okay to be rioters. I'm not defending any of that. You know, because you've been told in the testimony, I'm prosecuting Joseph Ziminski for arson. That's not okay. But what you don't get to do is kill someone on the street for committing arson. You don't get to kill someone simply because they're a drug dealer. You don't weigh a pastor's life over a teacher's life. You don't weigh a police officer's life over an engineer's life. I think we can also agree that we shouldn't have 17-year-olds running around our streets with AR-15s, because this is exactly what happens. You can't claim self-defense against an unarmed man like this. You lose the right to self-defense when you're the one who brought the gun, when you're the one creating the danger, when you're the one provoking other people. This is a bar fight. This is a fist fight. This is a fight that maybe many of you have been involved in. 2 people, hand to hand, we're throwing punches, we're pushing, we're shoving, we're whatever. But what you don't do is you don't bring a gun to a fist fight. You can't punch the guy, knock him to the ground, and then get on him and strangle the life out of him. That's murder. So what's the difference here? The only difference is the defendant brought a gun. And that context starts with, bruh, I'm just trying to be famous. The defendant's TikTok profile. 4 doors, more whores. Picture of him up in Ladysmith, probably in early May, proudly holding his new AR-15. This is someone who has no remorse, no regard for life, only cares about himself. Oh, let me tell you all the awful things Joseph Rosenbaum did. He tipped over a porta potty that had no one in it. He swung a chain. He lit a metal garbage dumpster on fire. Oh, and there's this empty wooden flatbed trailer that they pulled out in the middle of the road, and they tipped it over to stop some bearcats, and they lit it on fire. Oh, and he said some bad words. He said the N-word. If he were alive today, like Joshua Ziminski, I'd probably try and prosecute him for arson, but I can't because the defendant killed him. But that's the way we deal with people that do these things. When you commit arson, we prosecute you. We don't execute you in the street. I think we all know somebody like Joseph Rosenbaum, the Napoleon complex, the little guy who just wants to chatter, but when it comes down to it, it's all bark. It's no bite. It's like a little dog. Bark, 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 but really ain't gonna do anything. There is no doubt in this case that the defendant committed these crimes. He committed a first-degree reckless homicide against Joseph Rosenbaum. He put Richie McGinnis's life in jeopardy. He put Jump Kick Man's life in jeopardy. He intended to kill Anthony Huber, and he attempted to kill Gage Grosskreutz. And I submit to you that no reasonable person would have done what the defendant did. And that makes your decision easy. He is guilty of all counts.
Ladies and gentlemen, this case is not a game. It is my client's life. We don't play fast and loose with the facts, pretending that Mr. Rosenbaum was Citizen A #1 guy. He was a bad man. He was there. He was causing trouble. He was a rioter, and my client had to deal with him that night alone. Provocation, another thing. Think back on November 2nd, when this case started. Did you hear one word out of Mr. Binger's mouth about provocation? You didn't, because it was never said. But when his case explodes in his face, now he comes out with provocation. Why is that a problem? Because 1, he's lying. 2, he's misrepresenting. Gage Grosskreutz, 10 million reasons to change his statement. His attorney is sitting in the courtroom, has been sitting in the courtroom when he testified. If he's just your average complaining witness, why get a lawyer? What do you got to hide? He didn't have a valid concealed carry permit. He wasn't charged. He lies to the police about being armed that night. He said he dropped his gun going down the street. Most people, when you lie to the cops, especially in a murder investigation, you get in a little bit of trouble. He's their star witness. Bought, paid for, and protected. If we had something to hide, they never would have gotten in that phone. They took the phone, they made a copy, they searched it. Lo and behold, nothing of an incriminating nature in it, nothing militia, white supremacist, any of that. Gage Groskowitz, they had a valid search warrant for it. The only search warrant that these guys have never not executed when it's sitting right in front of them. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no evidence whatsoever that he was an active shooter other than Mr. Binger calling him that. And there's no evidence that any of those other individuals who attacked him in the mob that night were attacking an active shooter. He wasn't shooting. Every person who was shot was attacking Kyle. One with a skateboard, one with his hands, one with his feet, one with a gun. Hands and feet can cause great bodily harm. My client does not have to take a beating from the hands of this mob or the hands of Mr. Rosenbaum. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a tough choice, but the evidence only leads to one conclusion. That is that Kyle Rittenhouse's conduct on August 25th was privileged based upon the actions of Mr. Rosenbaum and others. I ask you to do this, do justice here under the law of the state of Wisconsin. Thank you very much.